Hello. Hi. Okay. Hello. Good evening. I'm gonna clean my glasses. Hi, Mrs. Progretsky. How are you? Doing well, I hope. Okay. Hello. Hi, guys. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. Okay. We'll give it a few more minutes, of course, so that people are able to get in. Okay. Can you hear the dinging? I'm wondering. I set it up on my, okay, good. I set it up on my other meetings so that you couldn't hear the dinging. I guess I hear it, but I guess I didn't change the settings for this one. Hi, welcome everybody. Good to see everyone. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. I'm gonna actually, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna turn on the light.
Something to take notes on, right?
Okay. All right, wonderful. We're getting quite a few people. Good to see everybody. Welcome. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes, great.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm really excited. We have quite a few parents. I wasn't sure if the Zoom meeting would be a success or not, but because normally we have it in the cafeteria at school, but obviously we're not able to do that right now.
How are you, Miss Kidwell?
Oh, I'm doing great, thank you. This is the first, I think, parent meeting I've been able to host from my house, which is good and bad. I'm doing well though, thank you. It's been a strange, good, like all of the above couple weeks. So thank you for asking. I feel really positively though, overall about the start of the year. It's going, truth be told, hopefully y'all have the same experience. Really even better than I thought it would. I wasn't sure how teaching orchestra online would work or if it would work, but it seems to be going well. So I'm excited. Making the best of the situation, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hello. Hi,
So
I'm
nice.
Camila's mother.
Wonderful. Good to meet you. Thank you for
Likewise.
coming. She's been
Anytime.
so sweet.
I
It's
hope so. I mean, she's been having trouble practicing the violin for first time in her life. So she's like, I like it, and I said, okay, good. Continue and make the best out of it.
absolutely. Well, I'm hoping that she sticks with it. She's been great in class so far. It's
Hope
really
so.
good to have her. So we'll give it
Thank
maybe
you.
1 or 2 more minutes and then I'm going to start.
Perfect.
We have quite a few people. Awesome.
Good.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Schmitz. Good to see you. We have Mr. Schmitz here with us. He's one of the private lesson tutors, and he'll talk a little bit in a couple minutes when I have private lesson teachers jump in. I'm not sure if our other 2 teachers were able to make it to say something. One of them said that she is out of town right now, but our other, we have a cello teacher. Is Julie, let's see. Phil, do you see Julie Cantu on
Julie?
I don't think I see her on here. I'm not sure if she's able to make it tonight. But either way, we will talk about cello lessons. Okay. All right, 1 more minute, 1 or 2 more minutes. We'll give it about till 35 to get things, get people in.
Junta con la maestra de Camila de música.
¿Estás en vivo?
Sí.
Alrighty. a little bit of,
Yeah,
I don't see her either. I'm not sure if she's able to make it this evening, but regardless, we will discuss private lessons, and I'll give you the info for her if your student is a cellist. Okay. A little bit of, this is kind of funny, telling parents or adults, a little bit of Zoom maintenance, or a Zoom, how can I call it, I say Zoom expectations with the kids, but for you guys, if you could just keep yourselves muted, that would be wonderful. It makes things a little bit crazy if not. And my audio will actually get kind of skewed and kind of echoey. So if you're able to do that, that'd be great. Thank you so much. All right, so we will go ahead and start. It is great to see everybody, even virtually. I am a little, like I said, mixed feelings about not being able to meet in person in the cafeteria like normal. If we haven't met yet, or your child is new to the program, my name is Ellen Kidwell. I teach orchestra, obviously, at Bush. I am the orchestra director. I've been there for, this will be my 3rd year. So, and it's been great so far. I've had a blast with it. We've been really successful, top ratings at competitions. The kids have had some great field trips, and I'm still looking forward to providing an awesome year for them, regardless of the crazy situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you all, and just kind of go through what I would normally do at the parent meeting, the PowerPoint that I put together, some of the how your kids orchestra class will look this year, questions, etc. So let me go ahead and do that. Hopefully almost everybody is in since it's 36. Give me 1 second to move this. Alrighty. All right. So welcome Bulldog Orchestra parents. This is just the, a couple years ago when I took over at Bush, I felt like the orchestra needed a mascot. So I've occasionally just casually drawn, and I drew this little guy for us for our orchestra mascot, and the kids that year named him Bulltoven, like Beethoven and Bulldog put together. So that's our orchestra mascot. I always like to mention him because he pops up in various places, so he's kind of fun. And I hope that you all had a chance to read this, but if you didn't, that's okay, because I'm going to now. I put a little bit of thought, well, quite a bit of thought into this, so I'd like to share it with you. This was just a note that I put in the virtual handbook, and it says, I understand that this year holds many uncertainties due to our current COVID-19 pandemic. We have different information constantly released to us about the virus itself, differing opinions and guidelines on how to handle it, and changes being made to our plan and how to undertake it as teachers almost daily. Very true. Today, something changed. While we are all aware of these setbacks, I am committed to making this year valuable for your students, regardless of whether we stay virtual or return to in-person instruction. The Bush Fine Arts Department and I are working hard every day to prepare an outstanding curriculum to accommodate to students and parents' needs and expectations. I know that while in-person activities will not be permitted for the near future, well, starting next Tuesday, we'll start that up. We will be meeting on Zoom for every period so that students can interact with me and others. Additionally, virtual concerts will be a supplement to instruction, and Zoom tutoring sessions will be held every morning. Private lesson teachers for each instrument are available to teach over Zoom, which is extremely valuable for additional one-on-one instruction. I thank you for your continued patience and support during this time period, and I am confident we can together help our students have a successful and impactful school year. So that's just a little note about the school year. And obviously, if we have questions, I'm just going to go through this, and we can, I'll have questions at the end. About me, I graduated from UTSA several years ago with a degree in music education and violin performance. So I am primarily a violinist, but I also play piano proficiently. That was my first instrument. This is my fiance, Chris, and I grew up in San Antonio. This is my almost 3-year-old Grayson. He is rambunctious and all of the above. And as I'm sure many of you in quarantine have experienced, it's been interesting. If you have young kids, it's been something else. So that is a little bit about me personally. This is my schedule. I know that this is probably posted on every single site related to Bush you could find, but I wanted to put it up there for you all to see. On A days, we are doing first, third, fifth, and seventh period. So I teach first, third, and fifth. We have symphony orchestra, first period, intermediate and beginning orchestras, third and fifth. And then normally during the school year, the reason why I don't have seventh and eighth period is because I also teach fifth grade strings at the elementary schools, including Las Lomas, Stone Oak, and Canyon Ridge. B days is only second period and fourth period, and that is honors and chamber. And then again, I have down there that I teach fifth grade strings from 3 to 4 p.m. Every single day, this is important. If your child is needing help, I will be on Zoom starting at 8 o'clock every single day for them. So they're welcome. It's kind of a come and go thing. They're welcome to hop on and then leave when they're done. They don't have to do this. This is an optional thing. I've already asked maybe 3 or 4 kids to, I'll say, meet me on Zoom on Thursday so we can go over something a little bit more extensively if they feel they need to be, need that extra help. To communicate, the best way to get a hold of me is this email. And if you can't tell, it's a little bit hard to tell with the font. It's EKIDWE1, the number 1. So that's actually really unclear, and I'm very sorry. I just realized that the font is a little bit misleading. That is a number 1, not an L. At neisd.net. I typically email out what's expected, especially if we have any big grades coming up. I'll say it's really important that the students get this in by this date. If we do return to in-person activities, I will always email out about concerts, things they should be at, or events they should be at, etc. Remind 101 codes. Now, Remind has given me, as a couple of you have emailed or messaged me about, Remind has unfortunately given me a little bit of a hard time with students joining this semester. It's never been as much of an issue. Usually they can join if they're under 13. However, they can't message me back. If I send a message, they are unable to respond, but they can still receive the message. For some reason, Remind is being really stingy with kids even joining this this fall. So I reached out to them yesterday. I sent them an email, and I have yet to hear back. But you all, parents, are welcome to join your students' class Remind. And like I said, if there is my phone's starting to go off, I love it. If there is anything that the kids really need to have done, I will Remind text about it. If if we have a smart music assignment, which I'll explain in a few minutes, I will Remind text us about it, etc. So hopefully I'll leave that up for 1 more minute so y'all are able to join. I'm also going to turn my phone on silent. Okay. The handbook, how your student's class will look. So we're gonna go over to the virtual handbook really quickly. If you haven't seen the, if you have not seen the Bush Orchestra website, you can get to it from the Bush School website. It's very easy to do. You'll just look up orchestra and it's right there. And this is what it looks like. You can, any major announcements I'll put right here. There's some pictures. This was our door decorating contest last year. And you wouldn't believe this got 4th place. I was like flabbergasted, honestly. There's also a virtual concert that I put together from last year, if you'd like to look at that. It is very cool. Alrighty, and forms. We're just going to go through some of the key points in this handbook so that you know what's going on for your students. Virtual handbook. So this is a link to the virtual classroom I made. There's I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of these. There's a little Bitmoji of myself and the actual Bush Orchestra wall is behind us. So this is the actual Bush Orchestra wall. So they kind of feel like they're there. There's links to things such as tuners, metronomes, things that they will be needing consistently for successful at-home practice. So if you're wanting to take a look at that later, you can. Alrighty, so I wanted to go over for a few minutes how your students' Zoom classes are looking. These are, like we said, these are asynchronous lessons. So the first 15 to 20 minutes of class, I am talking with the kids. We've done a lot of icebreakers and SEL activities. And I'm really excited that we have a little bit of time with the 65-minute class periods to do a little bit more of that. It's been really fun. I will go over instructions on the skill we're working on that day. I'll maybe have them try it on their instrument. And then I will say, okay, here is the actual Google Classroom assignment that you need to do. For the last final class period time, they will leave Zoom and go complete that assignment. And then I will stay on Zoom and they can come back to me if they need help with it. So it's kind of a instruction, try it, okay, go do the assignment situation setup. So I am not really keeping them for the full 65 minutes. Part of that time, I am giving them time to complete the assignments that are due, just so you guys know. And then all the lessons and classes will be recorded and uploaded to Google Classroom under classwork and class recordings. So if your student needs to be an asynchronous student with instruction, maybe they're going back through in the evenings and viewing the Zoom later on, they are all there. They are all there for the students to watch. So that is important for attendance. If your student is not in the Zoom classroom or class while we're doing it, they need to complete the asynchronous activity for that day in order to gain attendance for our class period. So hopefully that was pretty clear. That's for everybody's classes, but I just wanted to reiterate that that's really important. The mission statement, the Bush Orchestra program will offer students the opportunity to explore, display, evaluate, and refine their musical talents in an encouraging but challenging environment. Additionally, being a Bush Orchestra member helps students develop personal growth as artists, musicians, citizens, and lifelong learners. This is all achieved with the support of the Bush community and our wonderful Bush Orchestra parents. So really and truly, I could not do so much of what we do in a normal school year without you guys. So I've changed this to some online objectives. It's very similar to the regular objectives, but with a little bit of a refinement towards the virtual learning situation. So music literacy and elements of rhythmic values notation, musical symbols, dynamics, etc. The ability to problem solve and self-assess with the help of Ms. Kidwell due to our online learning environment. This is really important. A little bit of autonomy with the students is needed this year if they are virtually learning. And I've explained to them, you have to kind of take your learning a little bit more by the reins and reach out to me if I need to help you more, because normally I can just come over to you in person, and fix something that I see wrong or talk to you about something that we can improve on. But that's a really important one for our virtual learning situation. Knowledge of a wide variety of orchestral literature, solo repertoire, and music history. Personal discipline and responsibility for their at-home practice and work, respect for others and their process of learning in Zoom classes. This is a orchestra Zoom class expectations. Be on time, be prepared, mute yourself if you're not talking, be presentable, participate actively, and chat responsively. I have had a really wonderful experience so far with all of your kids in Zoom. We have not had any issues. I've been thrilled with their responsiveness, their attentiveness, etc. So I really go ahead and give them a pat on the back for that when you see them. Okay, grading. Our homework, which will be pretty much due every Friday. In a normal school year, it's practice records due on Fridays. And that will be 20%. They will know what is due. I will be very, very clear in the Zoom classes. It's on our schedule, etc. So they will know what's due by Friday. Virtual concerts. I am still working on basically a platform which we are going to do our virtual concerts with. In all honesty, the virtual concert that I showed you guys over here on the Bush Orchestra webpage last year took me, I think it was only 12 kids, and it took me about 8 hours to edit and put together. So I have 120 kids in the program. So I am still trying to figure out, see this took me a long time. I'm still trying to figure out how we can get the students to perform virtually for you guys so that they have a project to work with. I'm checking out several platforms right now, and I promise to keep them updated on what we decide. That will probably be a end of September, early October time period for a virtual concert, or it could be potentially virtual duets. I will keep you guys updated. You will have something to watch your student on. Sectionals and rehearsals, if need be, that will be more of a in-person. If we return to in-person from 2 to 3 p.m., there's the potential if we have, I'm sorry to say a lot of ifs. Of course, this is a little bit of an if time period. If we have events in the spring that we're able to actually attend, we will have extra sectionals and rehearsals that will be grades. So that is kind of a TBD section of the grade. If we don't have sectionals and rehearsals in a grading period, it will just be 100. Playing tests will be done on Smart Music, and that will be 20% of the student's grade. And class participation is a big one. That is 30%. This includes having your instrument and supplies ready at the start of our Zoom class, being logged in on time to class, and actively participating in the class appropriately, both in speaking and in the chat box. A positive attitude and a desire to learn are crucial to the success of our program. That goes over some instrument rentals and supplies needed. This is super, super important, especially this year. It's very, very often that when we are in person at school, I will say, don't worry, I have rosin. Don't worry, I have a shoulder rest. Don't worry, I have a rock stop. But obviously, I can't do that right now. So them being prepared is very important and having their own supplies at home. So we're needing some kind of stand and a chair without arms. It just something where they can sit with their back up straight. They're able to have good posture position. They're not on the floor or on the couch or whatever it may be. They're also welcome to stand, like I said, as long as they are having good posture and position. That's what I'm worried about. Rosin for everybody. That is for every instrument. It goes on the bow. It's very important. Shoulder rests for violins and violas are not optional. That is something that they absolutely need to have good posture and position. You can actually order them on Amazon or online, okay, so they can be delivered to you. Rock stop for cellos or bass. If you're renting, please make sure your instrument has don't fret stickers if your student is new to the orchestra program. Some of the older students don't have stickers on their instruments, and that's fine. But if you have a 6th grader, they absolutely need the don't fret or first fret stickers on their instruments. And then this is really important as well. The essential elements books, they are, again, also you're able to order them on Amazon as well, but they're super important to have. So all sixth graders, I don't know why this says, okay, yes. All sixth graders or beginning and intermediate orchestra members need to have Essential Elements for Strings, Book 1. I apologize, this says advanced. This is my intermediate orchestra. So all of the sixth graders need to have Book 1. Seventh and eighth graders who are in symphony or chamber need to have Essential Elements for Strings, Book 2. And my honor students need to have Essential Technique for Strings, Book 3. And that is the end of the virtual handbook. I'm going to go back to this. My next slide is COVID-19 precautions for when students return to school. Student chairs in my classroom will be placed 6 feet apart. Students will be required to wear a mask at all times in the orchestra room and in the Bush Middle School building. Students will wait outside the orchestra room in the hallway 6 feet apart and will one by one enter as instructed by Ms. Kidwell. So if you've been to Bush, you know that the band hall, orchestra room, and choir room are all in like a little pocket on the side of the hallway. We will not just let students come in and out of there. We will have them stand in the hallway and basically say, okay, next, so that we can maintain that social distancing. Hand sanitizer will be stationed at the entrance of the room for students to use as they enter. It is mandatory for students returning to Bush to sanitize their hands when they come into the classroom and when they leave. So that will be set up for them. It's very accessible at the beginning or at the entrance of the room. All student materials being handed out will be passed out by only me and will be on the student's chair prior or stand prior to class starting. So no other students will be handling materials such as sheet music, if rosin's needed, nothing like that. I will be wearing a mask and a shield, and my hands will be sanitized at all times. None of the cello-based instruments will be offered for multiple students to use. So if your student is a cello or bass student and they are returning to on-campus instruction, they will have their own instrument labeled in the cello and bass closet at school, and I will personally, before they come into the classroom, put their instrument next to their chair. Private lessons at Bush. We have Philip Schmitz, who is here with us tonight, and he's going to say something in a moment, and Allison Fletcher. They teach violin and viola. Allison teaches violin. Philip Schmitz teaches both. And for cello, we have Julie Cantu. If your student is a bassist, that is a little bit more of a reach out to a bass private lesson teacher scenario. We don't actually have any private lesson teachers who teach bass come to campus, but I am absolutely able to get you information if your student is wanting private lessons. I'm going to end this. I'm going to open this for questions, but first I'm going to stop sharing this and then have Mr. Schmitz. If you would like to say something, Mr. Schmitz, you're welcome to.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I love being at Bush Middle School and helping teach some of Ms. Kidwell's students. It's such a privilege. Bush Middle School has such a great orchestra program. Ellen is a natural. She makes it so fun for the kids, and they don't even realize they're learning. She just has just a great way with making it fun and enjoyable, and the kids learn a lot and really end up playing at a high level. So if you want your student, your orchestra student to gain more confidence with their playing their instrument, or just take their playing to a higher level, or if the student has specific goals that they want to achieve, like trying out for the all-region orchestra or playing in a solo and ensemble festival, or some of these things that are such a great experience helping students grow their musical playing ability, then private lessons is a great way to do that. And the Northeast ISD allows private instructors like myself to come in on campus. Miss Kidwell allows me to come in during the school day, and your student can have a lesson, one part of their orchestra class, one day each week. Now I know this year when the kids get back to school, it'll be a different day each week, but it'll kind of alternate back and forth. Like maybe one week it'll be a Monday, and next week it'll be a Tuesday, and then it'll go Monday, Tuesday, back and forth, kind of like that. But kids can have their private lesson at school, and that's convenient because it'll make you, it'll help your schedule after school hours, where you won't have to drive around as it's one less place that you have to go. So it is a nice thing. So that's a great way. If you want your student to have a private lesson on a weekly basis, they could have it at school, and it's a great experience. So Northeast ISD has such a strong orchestra programs. Really every school has an orchestra, and that's just amazing. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mr. Schmitz. Like I said, we also, I provide as much instruction individually as I possibly can, but if you can just tell your student is needing that extra little bit, I absolutely recommend private lessons. It's a great way for them to get ahead. It really, I can remember, I can recall I started in 4th grade playing my instrument, and as soon as I started private lessons, about perhaps 2 years later, I just flourished. It really just helps with that one-on-one little things that maybe I am just focused on the large group and I don't realize the student is doing something strange with, might even be just their pinky on their bow, someone who can really give attention to the student individually. And all of our private lesson teachers at Bush are very skilled, very professional, and very well priced for what they're offering. So I highly recommend, if you're interested, checking out Mr. Schmitz, Miss Fletcher, or Mrs. Cantu. And like I said, if you have a double bass student, I know of several wonderful teachers in the area that would be happy to add them to their schedule. At this time, I really am just opening it to how do I contact the private tutors. So the private tutor information is on the Bush Middle School Orchestra website. I can also forward their email to you. But pretty much the best way to reach them, I would say, is to go on the Bush Orchestra website, and all of if you go under, let me share my screen one more time and I'll show you guys where their information is. So right here, if you go to courses, it says the orchestras and private lessons. And this talks a little bit about the orchestras and skills they should be working on. And this is our private lesson information. So like I said, we have Allison Fletcher, who is a violin teacher. She also comes to campus. Phil Schmitz has been with us since I've been there, and he comes to campus, I think maybe 1 or 2 days a week to teach violin and viola. And then Julie Cantu is our cello teacher who comes to campus. And they have also written a little letter talking about their prices and contacting them that you can click on there. Ms. Fletcher sent me a PDF of hers and is going to send me a Word document of hers tomorrow so that I can add her letter right there onto hers. Okay, any other questions? When will the first home practice logs be due? I'm glad you asked. Thank you so much. So we are actually not doing practice records this year. Instead, in replacement of practice records, we are using a platform called Smart Music. I'm sure some of you have already seen your kid doing this or seen them logging on, or them complaining about having a hard time logging on, because it's been a process getting everyone their account going and stuff. But it is a wonderful platform. I have not used it before this year, and it sets it up so nicely for the students. They actually play into the computer. they play the recording of the music into the computer, and Smart Music can grade it, but I can also grade it manually, and it just has the recording. I can listen to the recording, I can send comments, I send it back to them, and that is what we are planning to use for the whole year. I mean, I love it. I think it's really nice. The kids seem to like it so far. It's easy to use, and those will always be due by Friday, okay? And it will have the due date. If it's late, 20% of the grade is taken off, and that is always and forever what I have done. Late practice records have a deduction of 20%. So they're welcome. I will always take late grades, but it will be that 20% of whatever their original score is taken off. How can I rent the cello? So if you're needing to rent an instrument, that information is in the virtual handbook. I have a limited amount of cellos and basses, so I am always willing to check if I have one that you can rent from Bush. But that's kind of a first come, first serve basis, unfortunately, because I also need instruments for the students to be able to use on campus. So that will be, that information is in the virtual handbook, or if you'd like to email me directly, I can give you some more information. Any questions? You're welcome to put it in the chat box, or you can just kind of flag me down. Can you please share the remind codes with us again? Absolutely. Let me go to the share screen, and I will go to the remind codes. Here are the remind codes if you didn't catch it the first time. And again, this will be where I send out like, hi everyone, remember that we have virtual concert recordings due by Friday, or something of that nature, something that's important enough to send via remind. Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry, there we are. I know the codes are a little bit strange. I don't come up with the codes, so I apologize. Oh, the Honors Orchestra, I'm sorry, it doesn't say the number. It's the same number, to at 82CA8H to 81010. And again, if you missed it at the beginning, this is my email, but this is not an L, which is a little misleading. This should be a number 1. So if you're writing my email down for future use, if you think you'll need it, it is ekidwe1@neisd.net. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing unless anyone objects. Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's see. What is the update on the children returning to school next week? Will they be able to practice live in the classroom? I'm so glad you asked. We are waiting to hear from Mr. Guthrie tomorrow about whether or not the students, because right now how it's looking is that the students are coming, there's groups of 5 able to be in a classroom. So they have assigned 5 students to one person's classroom. Now, the fine arts department, as far as we know, do not have a group of 5 students staying in our classroom all day to learn virtually on their device. However, we have asked Mr. Guthrie, the principal, is if during the orchestra class, the students can leave the classroom they've been assigned to and come to our room so that they can do orchestra without busting an instrument out in the middle of a history class, right? So that is something that I will have to let the kids and you all know tomorrow, actually. And we were supposed to have a meeting today, and so I would have that information with you, and it did not happen. I think there was an additional meeting scheduled during that time that was forgotten about. So I will absolutely update you on when I know that. I am hoping and expecting that those kids who are returning to campus are able to come to the orchestra room and get out their instrument and play. I cannot imagine he will say no, but I mean, I have to keep you all updated. It's really a matter of them moving in the school on campus. So I will keep you guys updated about that. If they are not able to do that, then they will turn into a orchestra asynchronous student as far as playing their instrument at home when they get home from school. So they will have to do that work at home if they're not able to. But again, I'm really expecting that he will say, yes, those students can leave and come to the orchestra room and get out their instruments and participate in class. When are region auditions? So region, if you're unfamiliar with region, it's a big part of the students' orchestra experience. It's an opportunity for students to try out for a select orchestra, and they prepare music for several weeks. They audition and they either get in or they don't. And then usually we have a really exciting concert for the students who were selected to be in the one-time performance orchestra. This year we are not doing region in the fall. We will be doing region in the spring. And that is not going to be a performance. It will be students learn audition repertoire, they prepare music, they audition virtually, and those students are either selected or not. If they are selected, they are recognized as being selected into the orchestra. They receive a region orchestra patch, which is part of every year. It will say region orchestra. It's like a patch that they can eventually put on their letterman if they would like to get one in high school. And they can receive a region orchestra t-shirt and all of the things besides the in-person concert. Now, with that being said, there is talk amongst the Northeast directors about hiring an outside party to put together some type of virtual performance for region orchestra. And to be clear, region orchestra is entirely optional. It's a great opportunity for the kids. They get to play a little bit harder repertoire than they normally would at school. It's really good for them to be able to push themselves for that. How is let's see, so hopefully that answered your question. Again, as I get more updates, I will absolutely update you all. There's a little bit of if, when, etc. kind of mood in the official say of things right now. How is the class routine going to be when some of the students are back on campus and some stay virtual? Great question. So basically how it will be is that I will continue to teach via Zoom regardless of the students being on or off campus for the first 3 phase-in setups. So we have, I think it's something like 8 phase-in plans. With that being said, the first 3 are set up so that we can teach asynchronously. And that is being that I teach on Zoom, and then later the students who are unable to come to campus can watch the Zoom video, complete the assignment that I'm talking about on the Zoom video, etc. That is still my plan for the first 3 phase-in procedures that they have set up. At the point, hopefully we get there, that we are in the phase 4 plus with more students on campus. I believe they said, if there is a point where there are 20 kids in my room, I will teach a lesson to those students in person and record the lesson and post it later on. So it won't be me face-to-face on Zoom. It will be me teaching the class full of kids, but it will still be recorded for your student to watch later and finish their assignments. Did that answer your question, Mrs. Picard? Okay, great. Okay, do the Friday Smart Music assignments also go in Google Classroom as an assignment so they can keep track of what's due? That is a great question. I have not posted in Google Classroom yet. This assignment is due on Smart Music on Friday because we've kind of still been in a lot of classes getting a hold of things with Smart Music. Some of it's they're starting out great, and some of them have had issues still logging in, like they forget their password and we have to reset it or whatever it may be. So it's been a little bit of a slow start with some classes. Starting next week, I will have official Smart Music assignments due every Friday, and there will be reminders in Google Classroom. Remember that it'll be more of an announcement. Remember your Smart Music assignments are due Friday. Get those done. If we need to tune in the violin, at what time are you available? So if your student is really out of tune at some point, that means that their strings are not close to the correct note that they should be. They will not be successful in their playing. So at that point, you can either have them Zoom me, and I can try to walk them through what we call peg tuning the instrument. If it's really bad, I might just say, you need to come meet me at the campus. And when that happens, I've already had about 5 kids do that. They'll bring the instrument and meet me out front, outside of the building. I have my mask on, my hands are sanitized, etc. I will have them place it on the bench. I'll go over and tune it. I'll put it back in the case and they'll come get it. So that's a really helpful thing. You can always have me tune your student's instrument from 2 to 4 p.m. on any day. I am always there available to have your students to run out, and you can even email me and just say, hi, I came by and I'm outside. Can you come tune my kid's instrument? Absolutely, I will do that. I'll run out. When the students go back, with them not having lockers, will they be able to leave their instruments in the orchestra room for the day? That is a wonderful question that I don't know the answer to. My understanding is that they are not allowed to leave anything in our classrooms. So, but that is one question that was supposed to be clarified today, so I could have the answer for you all. And that is something that I will let them know when I know tomorrow, okay? That is, because I don't want them to have to carry it around all day. But also, I think the reality is we probably won't be moving class periods like consistently, like going from class to class very much. So probably worst case scenario is they would have to take it to their homeroom class where they stay for most of the day. But I will let you know the answer to that question. All the assignments will be posted in Google Classroom. All of the assignments are posted in Google Classroom. There are announcements, and then there's classwork. There's a classwork section. It is very clear. It'll say resources if you haven't checked it out yet, and that is information about tuning. That is information about, it has our Zoom link in it. Then I will have week 1, week 2, week 3, and everything that's due that week or continuing on will be under the week 1 or 2 or 3. How long will each phase take? I do not have the answer to that question. I think it really depends on what the district decides is appropriate for going forward with how many students can be on campus. I will say that they have given each school a lot of autonomy in deciding what they want to do for their phase-in plan. Our campus specifically has decided, Mr. Guthrie and our administration has decided that 150 kids will be allowed on campus starting next week. And I don't think that's quite 10%. Oh, I think that's about 10% of our overall population, slightly more than 10%, but they're doing it by percentages. So it'll be 50 6th graders, 50 7th graders, and 50 8th graders allowed back on campus starting next Tuesday. And if you are not sure if your student was selected for that, I would reach out to Mr. Guthrie. I think that he sent out a survey. Well, I know he sent out a survey to see who was wanting to send their student back. And then from those answers, they had to kind of pick from the answers based off need. Like, I know that students with siblings who have young siblings, or they're in need of care, child care, were a top priority. SPED kids were really important to get back on campus so that we can get that one-on-one instruction from a distance. And students with higher need were selected to come back to the campus. So it's really hard to say how long each phase will take. I think that depends on, I'm getting an Amber Alert. Sorry. I think that depends on how the numbers in San Antonio are doing. Okay. Alrighty, any other questions or comments, concerns? I'll give it one more minute in case someone's typing in the chat. Okay, thank you very much. Absolutely, thank you all so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. I wish I had a few more definitive answers for you guys, but the information I do have was hopefully answered a few of your questions. I'm really looking forward to returning to in-person instruction when it's safe. I have a family. I want to be really careful, of course, too. So that's very important to me. But regardless of whether you decide that your student will be doing that this year, it's going to be a great year for everybody. I know I can tell they're already having fun. They're glad to see their peers. They like the interaction. So I've really been thrilled with how it's gone so far. So thank you all so much. It is so good to see everybody / meet you if we haven't met yet. And I look forward to this school year. Okay. Thank you. Absolutely. All right. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Kidwell,
Yes.
can I ask just a quick question? Caroline was scheduled to return to school on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Does she bring her instrument?
No. Let's say not Tuesday. Let me get back to you on that. If
Okay.
they do say that she can come to the orchestra room during class, I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
So that she can get her instrument out and play for our class period, do her assignment on the computer that she brings, and get that done so she doesn't have to do it after class.
Sure.
I will absolutely tell them tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday if they're going to be allowed to do that. So I'll just have to keep you updated, but I will.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you.
it. Good to see you too. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Okay, let's see. I'm going to.
Hey, one of my Bush private students, I was trying to remember which one it was. He showed me smart music. It was
Yeah.
it was Thomas.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it so cool?
Yeah, and I know Mr. Vilas uses it a lot. I've seen it before. I've thought about seeing about getting
Like
it.
seeing about, yeah.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, it's so great, and it's got all these features, and then has the blue bar, it'll kind of scroll
It'll scroll with the kids. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then it shows the dots for if their notes high or low, or if they played it early late and stuff. It's awesome.
Or if they played it offbeat or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really. I don't know where I would be if we didn't have that. I mean, that's been already really helpful. I can listen back and check their rhythm and their tuning and all of the above. It's really great. You can set it to grade. It's their submission itself, and you can submit it to do it grade it easy, average, lenient, hard, etc. So if I want them to submit it without me really having to review it and feel like I want to give them a fair grade, I can just set it average. And it does a really good job grading them. So it's so cool. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It might even be something that I use in the future for in place of practice record grades, because it teaches them. I mean, they can listen to it. So it's one line, I guess, as Thomas showed you. It's one line or however many lines, and you can like listen to it. You can drop the tempo quite a bit. You can put the accompaniment on or off. You can put the metronome on or off. You can put my part. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I think he had, I want to say he had like one of his essential elements exercises in there. Does that sound right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We're kind of starting easy right now. We're doing some essential elements, third position stuff. And yeah, it's going well.
Yeah, all my 6th graders who are going into 7th grade,